What up, y'all? I have a Bilock here. It's got 12 pins, and it doesn't use driver pins. Instead, it's got sidebars that want to retract into the cylinder so that the lock can turn. And each pin has little gates on the side of it, a true gate and a false gate. And this sidebar will be able to slot into the true gates, get out of the way, and the lock will open. So, let's give it a try. I'm going to use top of the keyway on the right side of the keyway, turning counterclockwise. I've been instructed to do it that way because if I was to tension counterclockwise from that side, I can break the little center post. I'm going to start with a short hook, multi-pick, piano 6. Oops. I'm just going to kind of drag through here, and anything that's binding will catch on it. I'm just like really low because any of the low cuts, I don't want them to overset. I'm just kind of popping everything up into a little gate or out of it. So number 1, gotta click out of that one. Number 2 is a very low lift, so I'm careful around it. Number 3 is a pretty high lift. Gotta click there. And another click there. Excuse me. And I go in and I kind of give everything little nudges to make sure that they're set all the way, because sometimes they slip a little bit. So I'm not feeling anything binding, so I'm going to tap stuff. Felt like I snagged on 2 a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of movement there. So I'm going to go at number 5. Oh yeah, that was a good click. I wonder if it wants another one, because it's a pretty high lift. Doesn't feel like it's binding. I move to 6. Cool. Set that one. Yeah, so I think the left side might be set now. Let me check one more time. Pin 3 is iffy. I don't want to force it up and it not need it though. So I'm going to move to the right side. Just going to kind of drag through. I think I just heard something drop. I hope that wasn't on the left. I think it's right. So I'm going to start with pin 5 on the right. Click. Kind of mushy though. Pin 6. Little click there. Little click out of 5. Yeah, they're binding back and forth kind of like a little tapered effect. For this part, I like to bring out the slightly deeper hook so I can get around without oversetting, because it's some real low cuts here. So I think I need to push 5 up higher to the next gate. Yeah, I gotta click. Still binding back and forth with number 6. But I'm gonna move on to 1. Got a little resistance there. 2s are real low. Real careful around it. On the right side, I really got to go back and forth between pins a lot. Like I just touched 5 and got the tiniest little bit of movement. Yep, same at a 1 there. 1's a real high lift, so I gotta make sure that it's in the right gate. But to do that, I just keep going back and forth between 1 and 3. 3 is about a mid lift. Lighten up on my tension a little bit. Oop, something dropped. Let's see. Start to get nervous around this point. I might get a little shaky. So I did get a click out of 1. I think that was a little something out of 3. And it's around this time too that I found I'll get stuck, and then I release some tension and hear a couple of clicks drop. Go back through and touch stuff again, and it'll open. Alright, so we got a lot of core movement. Let's see if it opens. There's a little interactive element in the middle on the front here. Yeah, there we go. That was pretty cool. Get her gutted. Alright. This thing has, this particular key has the little dimple there. And it allows you to just pull the cylinder out. That is an open thing there. Just turn it a bit. And yank it out. There's the inside. You see the channels for the sidebars. Take the key out. And let's get this little brass slide off cap there. I progressively pinned this lock quite a bit over a long period of time, off and on. And this little brass slider held through pretty well. I had to bend it back a little bit, but the springs held up real well. We got all the 12 pins with the little interactive element at the front there, in the middle. So shaky. Goodness gracious. I haven't gotten this shaky after a lock in a long time. I got some pins with this lock, like a bunch of extra master pins and some extra regular pins. So I experimented with just adding some of those master pins in for some of the higher lifts. Because it was really hard to get around the low lifts. I mean, they're really low. And the high ones are really high. It's pretty easy to overset. Once you figure it out and get the feel for it, you know, like when you're oversetting, when you're not. But at first, I mean, I really couldn't tell. You get all kinds of clicks, and you're not sure if they're good clicks or bad clicks, or whether you're stuck because you're in a false gate. So got all our little springs here. They can just get on and put in there. Let's see, I think I'll use a pick. Push each pin out. not a bad gut, but it might take just a second so I can get all the orientations right so we can see all the gates. The progressive pinning, and especially with the mastered pins put in there, I think I put the mastered pins in there to make it like red level. I think there were 4 mastered pins in there, but it just didn't feel like a good open because it was made as easy as could possibly be, and that's why I really had to pick it unmastered. It's cool to be able to play around with it though. And the pins, like, it was weird how the pins on the left side, they pretty much just clicked up, but the pins on the right side really had to be nudged, like with a tapered effect, like tapered pins or acid barrels or something. And I found that the side pins on the twins, the acid twins, kind of feel that way too. Sometimes you gotta nudge them little by little. But it does give you kind of like a sticky little clicky feedback, so it's not like you're just mushing around in the dark, so to speak. I expected this gut to go a little bit faster, but it is kind of a lot of elements. I bought an ASA V10 mogul cylinder from a gentleman on the Discord, LPU Discord Laka Bazaar, and I thought it was going to come with the barrel drivers. I'm looking in there, and it did come with the barrel drivers, but the milling, it was a ASA V10 milled for gin spools. And so while it had, the wrong pins, the barrels didn't match the milling. They should have had the different kind of milling to be effective. But I've got plenty of gins laying around the house. What's rare is the V10 plug with the undercut that matches with the gin spools. And so that was a nice little treasure find. I may have some, I should, got some nice old ASA or like Christmas tree looking pins. They're real old and pretty uncommon. And so I'm going to put those in that V10, and it's going to be pretty cool. I doubt that it ever came that way. It was meant, those pins probably not meant to be in the V10 per se. But with the milling should match them and should make for a pretty challenging pick. Better get down, little guy. Okay, appreciate all that. So we got a little plug here with all the little holes. There's the sidebars. Let's see. I don't know if we can see the little nubs on the sidebars, but I think maybe those are what go into the pins. Keyway. And then, let's see. I think I'm going to experiment with a new thing here. I'm going to zoom in by taking this on. Alright, so I tried to go zoom down and show the pins, but apparently my finger touched the button and shut the camera off. And so I figured I'd come back and just give a little longer view of those pins there. You see the false gates are just little depressions, and then the true gates are actual deeper holes. Just in that short amount of time, I managed to lose a spring. Pinged away. I have extras, but they're in the cabinet, and I don't want to get up and drop something and mess the video up even more. So, little disaster, not too bad. God's luck. Alright, appreciate y'all. Have a good one.